I know. Hey, everybody, it's the Biscuit Box. It's Wednesday at 11 a.m. And am I on time? 2 minutes past. I'm getting there. I'm delighted to be with you today again. And I'm not on my own today. I have a very special guest. And you've probably seen me talk to Patricia Fitzgerald before. She's been on the Biscuit Box before. But this week's session is a little bit different because what we're talking about today is feeling happy when you lose a client. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? But I'll tell you, we're going to talk about how it can feel really, really good to lose a client and why. But first, I want to introduce Patricia to you guys. If you haven't met Patricia before, she's the founder of Healing Creations, and I'm going to leave the link to her website in the comments below. And Patricia is a visual artist and she's based in Dublin. And her main focus with her work is all around the art of mandalas and the power of mandalas. And Patricia has created an amazing career and an amazing life around her mandala work. She's part of a creative collective called 300 Acres, who are in the courtyard at Marley Park in Rathfarnham in Dublin. So if you're ever around Marley Park, and I know a lot of you guys that are based in Dublin visit Marley Park, please pop into 300 Acres and say hi to Patricia there. You can see all her amazing work in there. And Patricia also runs workshops and retreats around mandala creation and meditation. This lady is very busy. So welcome, Patricia, again to the Biscuit Box.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
I'm really good. Really good.
Good. I can see a beautiful piece behind you there, Patricia. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
That is my dream turtle. So this is a mandala I've created based on dream work that I've been doing. So I think the mandala process brings on your dream and accesses the subconscious. So I'm just having great fun exploring that side of it and the wisdom that dreams can bring us. Yeah, I think there's so much inside it.
And dreams are such an interesting topic, actually. And just before we hopped on, I was just asking big nosy head in me, what's that piece about? Behind it. But I was asking Patricia about that piece, and we were talking about dreams, and I didn't even know there was all this. Like, there's so much stuff happening underground around dream work, isn't there? Like, Patricia. Yeah. What's the crack with it like? Is it?
I think. Well, I discovered I kind of have been dreaming a lot, and I had been using my dreams intuitively in my work. But I had this feeling there's much, much more going on than that I can explore. And I kind of set the intention in my head. You know, I work with energy. I'm like Elle.
You're like Elle. Yeah.
And I said I'd love to just find a community that I can connect with. And next thing, an email came from somebody I subscribed to the Shift Network, and it was the work of Tokopah Turner. So she's based in British Columbia, and she just does the most amazing work with dreams. So I've been working with her on an online course, which is, it feels like you're gathered around a fire sharing your dreams. It's very intimate. It's about courting the dream and about not analysing, going, what does it mean? I want to know now, like we tend to do. It's a much more yin approach. It's more feminine. It's allowing it in, inviting it in. It's working with its wisdom. So we do all kinds of things, like from having a dream altar where you put symbols of your dreams, taking your dream for a walk out in nature, writing your dreams, obviously, is hugely important. And then creating with your dreams, which I've done anyway, but I find that really, really powerful. And just the wisdom they yield, and then somatic movement as well.
Oh my God. Like, I'm not living at all. I'm not in the right job at all.
I can't sleep.
What?
I'm alive when I sleep. It's great.
Yeah.
What happens nearly there sometimes.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's so
that's so
fascinating.
interesting. Like there's so like you're like that can be another workshop thing that you can do, Patricia. The whole making people aware of the power of dreams and tapping into that side of our being. I guess that's Jeannie
Yeah.
Mac. So interesting, right, Jeannie Mac. So what I want to talk about firstly, I want to say that we are parting ways from the factory. You emailed me the other day, it's time that I leave. And if you don't know if you're watching and going, what's the Biscuit Factory? So the Biscuit Factory is an online membership community around the biscuit community, and it's where people that really want to push their businesses forward and be connected to other creative business owners who are really ambitious and really get shit done, and we're all gathering over in the Biscuit Factory. But Patricia was one of the very, very first members of the Biscuit Factory, and it's like saying goodbye to a teenage child going off to college. But I wanted to talk about how important it is to be happy to say goodbye to clients and customers that you've been working with for some time, because you know it's the right time, and that they've got to a certain level with their work that I feel very grateful to have been a little part of, and it's a lovely thing, and it's weird to be happy to say goodbye to a customer or a client. I don't even feel comfortable calling you guys clients or customers. It doesn't feel right, but I guess fundamentally that's what it is. But it feels I just feel so proud and happy that you're going off on your next part of your journey, and it's been such an incredible journey. And I want to share with viewers today what that journey was like for you, because I know there's lots of people watching you and I might go into website after this call or maybe on the call and look at what you're doing and think, God, I'll never be able to do that. She quit her 9-to-5 job. She's doing all this international work. She's published books. She's doing retreats all over the world. She's doing dream workshops with people in British Columbia. She's doing all this stuff. She's living the life I want. But it hasn't always been like this. Sure, it hasn't, Patricia. And I'd love you to just to give a brief overview of what it felt like when you knew you weren't living the life that you should be, because this is definitely the life that you were meant to live, right? But how did you know that something had to change? You might talk us through that a little bit.
When I was a kid, I always wanted to be an artist, so that was my thing. And my parents said, no, that's not a proper job. You can't do that. No, you'll just be a failure, blah, blah, blah. Off you go, get a proper job. So off I went and I became a library assistant. But I put myself to art college at night in IADT. But I didn't like it, I have to say. I hope nobody's lecturing from IADT. But at that time, that was probably 1990. And I had an interest in spirituality and in the feminine and in the ancient Ireland and Egypt and all these things. And it was just shut down. It was just an absolute no. It was not cool. And so I finished that and I never picked up a paintbrush for 25 years.
Wow.
So literally, and I went back and I worked in my job in libraries. And in that job, I got a scholarship to do my degree in librarianship. And it turns out half that degree was philosophy, which really links into what I'm doing now. So it's all meant, And then in 2012, I suppose for about 10 years, I suppose I was feeling, I remember sitting on the couch and I'd be watching Big Brother and just TV and numbing out, but thinking, I remember one night particularly just sitting there and just tears coming down my face going, is this it? There's much more. I just could feel some huge part of myself was blocked off. And then suddenly things started to happen in the external world. My marriage broke up, and so that was a very difficult and stressful time. And I was trying to write my way through that. My creativity wanted to come out. At one point, I was arts officer in South Dublin for a year because I think I thought it would get me closer to art and artists, but it was for me, that was probably the worst point, because I was doing paperwork. looking at other artists, and I just felt even more sad. But I didn't name it. I didn't have the courage to name it then. And I think it was just a blocked artist all the way up. And then with the divorce and everything else and selling the home and the stress of all of that, it suddenly kind of bubbled out of me, and it came out in a way that I never expected it to. And it's through the art of mandala and meditation. So yeah, and it's just been life changing, and it's great to let that part of yourself back out.
That's brilliant. So I think there's an interesting narrative with people when, and I definitely had this as well, when you start saying to yourself, is this it? Is this it? Is this my life? Like, you know, I think when that starts happening, your subconscious is nearly going, okay, hang on a second, like rethink this. Like there has to be something else, you know. And some people never get that. Some people never say, is this it? They're happy out going, dum-de-dum. And that's cool as well, you know.
Living the right life initially, but a lot of people are living the wrong life as well. You know, if you're living the life somebody else expected you to live.
Exactly. Yeah. Expectations are very, very dangerous things. So when you realized, okay, you discovered mandala work, and what happened then? Like, because I know you joined the factory quite God, how many years ago was it? 3 years? Was it 4?
3 or 4? 3. Yeah. I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, going into your year, I think.
Year. Yeah.
So why did you join the factory then? What was that?
Well, I suppose what happened was I would do during my divorce, I would just do mandalas at night. I had no really idea what they were, but I just knew that they calmed me and got me through that whole time that was very stressful in kind of 2013 and 14. And I began exploring it then more deeply. And I began to share on my own personal Facebook page about mandalas, or just not about mandalas, just the work I was doing. And they were quite shit, to be honest. Sorry, I'm like cursing here.
Of course you are. Hello. Done is better.
It doesn't matter what they look like, because it is all about process anyway.
Yeah.
And that was just why I was doing it. And but I started to share them, and people started to share them in turn. And then I was kind of going, God, maybe, you know, people are resonating with this. And I made a little Facebook page and kind of put it out. And next thing, they were getting shared all over the place. And then I don't know how I came across the factory. I absolutely don't know how. I don't know how. I really don't know how. But when I did, I think I must have joined the biscuit tin. And I just loved the vibe and the, you know, just the supportive nature of it. And I understand the power of having supportive people around you when you're on a journey. You know, you become the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And even if that time's online, it doesn't really matter. It's what it does to your subconscious, and just being a part of a community that pulls you up and spurs you on, rather than tells you all the reasons why you can't. Yeah. They tell you all the reasons why you can. And I love that. It's very special.
It changes everything, doesn't it? I think definitely. And I think it's that reframe. And you talk about this in your book a lot, which I think is quite interesting. Patricia's latest book. Have you got a copy of it there?
Yeah. Probably going to be back.
That's going to be, Would You Be If? And you talk about this in the book, about how you can change your narrative around what is coming at you. Like, you're the one that changes that. Like, we're more in control of it than we think, like, you know. And when you're surrounding yourself with people that say, but just do it, why not? Like, go for it. Life starts changing, doesn't it? Like, and for you, it really started to change, didn't it? When you were deep in the factory at the beginning, and I remember the day you announced into the group that I'm going to quit my 9-to-5 job, and that was a big decision and a big milestone for you. It was huge. You were all jumping around the place, so proud, so excited for you. And was there something in particular that made you push that?
Well, I remember, I suppose I felt like my soul was just being little nicks on my soul every day. I went in, I had to clock in, and then at one stage I was a librarian, a senior librarian. I did a really good job, but and I enjoyed my job in many ways, but there was one day I had to get a leprechaun for a story time, Irish story time for Shop the Gaeilge, and we had to do procurement, right, which is big government forms of like 40 pages. And I knew no leprechaun in his right mind was going to fill out the procurement. Anyway, so I'm sitting at my desk going, really? Am I really doing this? And I went, Jesus, no. And I remember walking across the car park for a coffee. It was in a different building, or the canteen was in a different building. And we were walking across, and I remember asking, I just kind of put my head up. I could feel it in my stomach, my whole solar plexus. I just don't want to be here anymore. And I said to the universe, I just hadn't got enough money to make the leap. I said, send me some money in the next 2 weeks. I was going on leave for 2 weeks. Send me, if you give me a sign, I will quit, right? So literally the next day I got a letter from a solicitor about an uncle who had died, who I wasn't very close to, but he left me money. Not very much. It was around $3,000 or something. It wasn't much, but that was enough. I could pay my mortgage for 3 months or whatever, and I was safe. That was enough, and I knew I could push it from there. And I just went, okay, I'll honour it. And I just went in and I handed in my notes like a mad woman.
And that, I remember that day so well. And it's so good. Like, you were buzzing. And you had like a 3-month safety net. That's all you had. You had 3 months. And by God, you did some work in those 3 months. You were on fire. Like, you did so much. Like, and I think, you know, and we see this in the factory a lot. Like, there's a lot of members in there that are quitting their 9-to-5 jobs, and you can see just that it's not urgency, but it's that real motivation and focus when that safety net is gone. Right, I have to make this work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you know what happened as well? I had applied for a career break twice and was refused. And I'm really grateful that I was refused, because I had been blogging through the factory and your training. You taught us how to blog and create our email lists and our website. So all that scaffold was there. So I had that. And so I was sending out my email, and I sent out an email about me leaving the job. And, you know, so I do share kind of the journey with people as well. And it was literally 2 weeks after I left the job, somebody who got the email approached me to write this book. Right, so that's how that book came about. And I think if I hadn't left, if I'd just gone on a career break, I don't think I'd have got that. I don't think I'd have been offered that, because it's like, no, she's really serious about this.
Yeah, that's,
you know what I mean? It's just a different energy, and plus it made me go, I have to do this. Whereas if I had been going back to work in 12 months, I go, look, I've enough to get me through. Just your energy and the way people perceive you as well changes.
Right. And I think as well, you take yourself more seriously, because you've made a decision as the owner of your life and the owner of your company and your business, and I'm going to do this. This is important, and nothing's going to fucking stop me. Like, and it gives you fire, like, doesn't it, Patricia?
And absolutely, having the factory, being in the factory, and it's such a safe space, and just the support, it's a beautiful thing. Like, whereas in my real day life, there are some people I'd say it to. There's also people who, if I said it at work, you know, you're leaving, what about your pension? What about this? What about that? My family would have been like that. Of course, out of the best intentions. Of course. The energy was fear, and their fear being projected onto you. So it's really important to just surround yourself with nourishment and nourishing people, and people who get you, you know.
Yeah. It changes everything, absolutely. And so tell us the one thing that has made a huge impact on your business, for anyone that's watching, that's trying to figure out, like, what, because you've achieved so much, and you've done like books, workshops, you're getting commissions from all over the world now. You're really zoning in on creating amazing work for people all over the world. Is there any one tip that you could share with people watching or watching the replay, if they're on their artistic journey, of the one thing that has made a huge impact on?
One thing.
Yeah, I know there's probably loads.
You know what I think it is? I think it's connection with people.
Yeah.
And I have to say, through the factory, and then also through the clients that I work with. When I'm working on a mandala with somebody, I work very, very closely with them. Also charging the right amount and having knowing your self-worth, and it was a lot of work for me, a lot of work. It really was, and the factory really helped with that. And I did other personal development work on myself as well, because and I found once I am charging the right amount, if we were talking about this before the call, that like the right people come. It's not the clients aren't difficult. They want what you have to offer, and they understand what you have to offer. There's none of this bargaining down, and I want 20% discount, and I want a red rose beside the moon or whatever. Like, it's just like, I kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. I work very intuitive, and I say that and I say it very kind of, I say, if you want a specific piece done, I'm maybe not the artist for you, because I work intuitively. Okay. So I say that to them, and that has made a huge difference.
Yeah. Can I ask you about the commission process, actually? Because I'm always quite interested in that. I worked with Lorna, who was in the factory as well, and she spread her wings some time ago as well, doing her thing. But I worked with Lorna Watkins on a commission, and it was such a great experience, and I really loved that process. But your work is quite different because it's intuitive. And tell me about that, because I'd love to know what that process looks like.
I think, well, usually what people would say to me, they would give me an idea. So say like the one behind me here is kind of like animals and sea-like, and then other times I might do moons. And then I also do, if you know my work, I do very geometric work.
Yeah.
So they will tell me which kind of style they like, and that's fine, and what colors maybe resonate with them. And they might tell me symbols that they're drawn to or that have come in their dreams. And then when I'm working on it, I am in contact with them all the time. So I'm messaging them, and I send them progress shots, and I warn them initially that at the initial stages of painting, sometimes they look shit. Yeah. Like that they will come. Like, I know I have the vision, and I know, like, sometimes when you put down, when you're doing a portrait, you put down the face, it's just ridiculous looking.
Yeah.
But it's just to get the idea. So they know that side, and I have a good communication with them. And then I suppose my work is a bit different in that I would share with them. Sometimes for me, the dreams will be very intense when I'm working on a commission with somebody. If somebody wants to work, I was working with a Jungian analyst in Florida. And so we were both sharing our dreams and synchronicities that were happening during the process. So that's just the people I'm working with are believers in what I do and what I believe, which is this collective unconscious, and there's much more going on in our reality than you might suppose. I'm working with a lady at the moment in Norway, and the same thing, we share our dreams, and it's just very personal.
Yeah.
It's always very revealing to me as well as to the customer. It's working both ways.
Yeah.
And it's extraordinary.
That's great. It's nearly as enjoyable as giving the final piece. It's that journey to get the piece is nearly what people want to experience.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge part of it. The real experience, actually.
Yeah.
They're co-creating the piece with me.
Wow. Okay, that's really interesting from a marketing perspective, isn't it? To put that in the whole thing. Sorry, we're on a one-to-one now. Anyway. But that's cool. That's so interesting, and such a lovely thing to be able to dive into every day with what you do. You're living the dream now, Patricia.
I just appreciate every moment. Yeah.
No, and sometimes when we live the dream, we forget to stop and go, oh yeah, I'm actually doing what I've dreamt of doing all my life.
Yeah, and I take a lot of time to practice meditation, and like you'd say I'm busy. I'm not. Yeah. I go for naps, and then I have a dream, and then I paint a dream. It's great. I do think the less you struggle, that actually it opens, and the less fear you have, that it opens up a different energy, and the more, like, I would talk about that in the book about practicing gratitude, overcoming fear, like even leaving the factory.
Yeah.
I know a part of me is hugely uncomfortable about that. It's like leaving a nest. It's this beautiful, supportive group of people. But another part of me knows I have to. Yeah. And that if I don't, I stay
there.
And you know the same as well. You know, like if you don't want somebody to stay there for 20 years, you
No,
know,
and that's not what it's there for either. And
no,
people,
no. And it must be great to see your like your babies go. You're like this Brody. Your
yeah,
girls go. And the rest of the men as well.
but I think I think it just for anyone thinking about even not the biscuit factory, but any kind of support group that you're involved with, it's okay to be ready to leave as well. And definitely with the factory, people come in for a month, or they come in for 4 years, or they come in for, for a year or 6 months or three.
Yeah.
It's however you use it, and just
I think that's so important. Yeah.
that's really celebrated in there as well. And I always say, there are no fucking rules. Like, to mind the rule, you have to stay. Like, you use the thing as you feel you need it, and when you're ready, trust you and go or stay or what. Like, I mean, nobody will think less of you. Like, you know what I mean? It's celebrated when people leave. And we always say goodbye. And I think that's really healthy. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And even within the factory, when you're doing the training, monthly training, so if there was something that I really wanted to do, I do it. And if there's something I didn't feel I was ready or I'd already done, I just wouldn't do it. And there's no pressure to kind of go, well, I have to be doing that, I'm supposed to be doing that. There's no shoulds.
Yeah,
You do what you feel. And people hop in and hop out. I mean, they might be more active for 3 months and then they might disappear kind of off a little bit and come back. And that's not, and it's lovely to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's an message as well, that we've enough pressure on ourselves. It's the last thing you need in a space that's supposed to be there to support you. Expectations are not allowed. Except get a fucking email list together. That's the only thing I'd be up and down about. Me and my email list. Anyway, so Patricia, I wish you the best, and I don't think you need our best wishes. And I know we're going to always see your work and celebrate what you do, and continue watching your amazing journey. And I love that you're teaching this as well, and that you want to share the whole power of mandala and meditation and how it has changed your life. And I think it can change everybody's life if you tune into, and as you say, we don't have a clue of what's really going on. You're tapping into that though, and you're learning about it. And there's so much to learn, isn't there? And it's exciting. And I think if you're watching and you and the narrative in your brain right now is this it? No. It's up to you though. Like, you have to make
you have huge power.
and reach out to people and ask people and email me and say, people are there to help. Like, aren't they, Patricia? People want to help people. And I think biscuit community, even in the main Bite the Biscuit group, it's about supporting each other no matter what you do or what level you're at. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's a big learning, is don't be afraid. It doesn't show that you're not able or capable. It shows you're brave and you want that life that Patricia has. We all want your life now, Patricia. Listen, thank you so much. I know you might be going for a nap now, is it?
I don't know. I can make the dinner actually. Ready for later.
Thank you so much for hopping on this morning. And again, if anyone is around Marley Park, 300 acres is an incredible space.
And that's how we got that through Bite the Biscuit as well, through Emer. I met Emer Company. I shared a space with Emer from Anu.
From Anu.
Yeah.
That's it. And you guys met it through the Bicky tin, and that's the power of meeting other like-minded people in a creative context. Creative people are up for it. They want to do stuff, and a lot of collaborative work is coming from the Biscuit factory actually, and it's great to see you guys have now a business together. It's so well done. And I'm sure Emer is flying as well with Anu. Like, they're flying it as well. Sure, it's incredible. So proud. So I'll leave you go to make that dinner, and well done on everything, Patricia. And with no doubt we'll talk to you very, very soon.
And thanks so much for everything and being just a huge part of this journey. And anybody thinking of joining the factory, and if you're just thinking of it, just do it. It's so worth it.
Thanks.
Really is.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll see you guys next week, 11 o'clock on the Biscuit Box, and have a great week. Keep creative, and Patricia, big love. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.